you?
Huh? Oh.
So Valve has made two biggish hardware announcements, biggish announcements that aren't game related. Let's say that, right?
Okay.
Are they even announcements? I think they came out during some random interview with a Valve employee, and they were like, well, might as well blow the lid off this.
Well, it's big picture mode, right, is the first one. And that they actually did like a very Google-ish trailer for. Like it was super Google-y.
Really slick and graphic motion designy. And
yeah, it was like, wow, this is not for us. This is genuinely for people who don't get Steam and want it in their living room.
Yep.
It was everything except a Jason Schwartzman voiceover. That was the only Google thing that was missing from it. But then the other thing is Jerry Ellsworth is now working at Valve, and she's working on mysterious hardware project number 947.
Yeah.
Whatever it may be.
I'm guessing it's probably related to a Steam box or some kind of crazy controller. The Steam box is coming.
Look,
totally.
Like it or not.
Look.
Totally.
So we will get back to the Steam box because we have differing opinions on that. But Jerry's background is controllers and pinball machines and game interfaces. So it makes sense that she's working on something that's going to make things even cooler in the living room.
So here's the thing about Steam, and I love Steam. I think it's absolutely the best platform out there, but it does suck not being able to use like an actual controller. I mean, obviously you can hook an Xbox adapter up there now and get going with that, but like the majority of older people don't know how to hook their computer up or their laptop up to the TV or don't want to.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. It's a lot of people don't want to plug a box into their television and then pull out a keyboard.
Yeah, especially not a box that they already have. Like nobody likes the idea of yanking that out of their home office and putting it next to their TV. No one wants like a huge tower next to their like 30-inch TV.
Even if you have a laptop and you hook it up through VGA cable, it's still like all formatted, all weird. Yeah, it's not optimized.
Well, Big Picture does a lot to make things right in that direction, especially that on-screen keyboard that uses the controller.
It's brilliant.
It's one of the best designs.
Have we actually tried it though? Has anybody tried it?
It's really cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it looked cool.
I plugged the
video
controller
and I was
into my laptop just to try it, which is the dumbest thing in the world.
Maybe if we can get that out of Steam and I could just type everything like that, that would be sick. I'm only using the first-person browser for the rest of my life.
Well, it's interesting because it was based on assistive device stuff. It was based on stuff for people who can't type. For one reason or another, they just can't use a keyboard. They don't have the motor skills. So it's made to be fast and it's made to be easy. And it's still not as fast as a keyboard, but it's, oh God, imagine like, you know, think about PlayStation 3. Think about typing anything into a PS3.
The first worst digital keyboard out there, and it's like, and I think the Xbox One is a close second, whether you have it set to QWERTY or not, it's just like boop, 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 boop.
All I type on my Xbox is like codes. Like game codes.
Even that.
And I bought a chat pad. It's that terrible.
I hate it. I get really physically angry when people send me messages through Xbox
like
Live.
Text messages?
And I'm like, do you know how long it's going to take me to reply to this? I'm not going to do it.
It turns us all into 14-year-olds with T9.
Oh yeah.
It's bad. So you know, that is good. That's a good part of Big Picture. Another good part of it is just like the fact that you can just be in Steam the whole time. And just use it, and you should be running it on a gaming PC, but you could probably run it on like a mini form factor, like a micro ATX or something.
Brandon Boyer bought like a tiny little box for the express purposes of making a Steam box. That was before Big Picture was even out.
And I think for me, in the last couple of weeks, I've really gotten more interested in having a gaming PC. Just because of Big Picture, because of Borderlands and how good Borderlands is on the PC. But I wonder if that's just because we're reaching the end of console.
It's that life cycle thing happening, right? Where the PCs are surpassing everyone by like, I mean, how old is the Xbox hardware at this point? Just like a trillion years old. Like, it's older than the N64 somehow. I don't know how that math works out, but somehow the 360 hardware is worse than the PS1 hardware. When you compare it to PC games. I mean, like, it's a really sort of gnarly looking thing, especially compared to PC games now.
The only thing that's going to keep people are going to be these holdouts. It's going to be people like EA who just aren't getting on the Steam bandwagon. You know, people who are just, because, you know, as a game publisher, you don't want to give up being the publisher.
Sure.
So the all-in-one, even with as good as the Steam big picture interface is, we're still a far way off from all-in-one. Like, you're still going to need a console and a PC together.
Do you think it could ever get to the point where it's like I guess GameStop, where they have no choice but to do business with them? Like, do you think Steam could ever reach that critical mass where everyone has to be on Steam, whether they like it or not?
Well, it's already happened for smaller studios. If you're not on Steam, nobody's buying your stuff.
So EA is one of the only ones who could like stand up.
Yeah,
to them,
I think so. So let's say you guys are pro Steambox. You guys are heavily pro Steambox.
I think so, yeah.
I'm way more pro Steambox than pro Ouya.
I'm super anti Steambox.
Why? Do you mean the idea of it, or the idea that it'll, like, do you think it'll not happen, or do you think it'll not be a good thing?
I don't like the idea of it because it turns Steam into a console and then puts all the same limitations on developers that are already there. Because if you have a Steam box, Steam certified, this particular hardware, all of a sudden game developers are like, well, we need to develop to this hardware, we can't develop for this, we really want to be sure that we're running perfectly on the Steam box. And then where does it become different than having a console? You kind of remove a lot of that customization and freedom.
The way I imagine it is that there could just be like a nice little icon on every Steam Games page that says Steambox compatible or not, and then they could just have it either work or not work. Like,
that's super fragmented though, and I don't feel like they want to do that. Because then it's like some games are going to be too good to run on your Steam box.
Right, and then you get a Steambox 2. Or a Steambox 360.
Right, well, it's a console. It becomes a console.
I imagine if Steam made a console like that, they would make it very easy to trade out hardware and stuff. Like, you could probably upgrade the hard drive in there pretty easily. I'm sure you could put a new graphics card in if you wanted.
It's interesting. Then do we run into the problem that we run into with things like proprietary Xbox hard drives, where all of a sudden the video card for your Steam box is more expensive because it's got to be easy enough for the living room user, right? So then do we buy these modular video cards that have a price premium on them? How does Valve make a Steam box happen?
It's so weird, and it's especially weird because they haven't touched hardware yet, and so like these are just the biggest question marks ever, right? Like, we have no idea how they're going to approach any of these 80 sort of questions. Like, one thing that they said in an interview a while ago, if I remember right, is that like software-wise, if they ever did do hardware, they would want the software to be completely modular. Like, you could install OSs on it, you could play non-Steam games on it. They wouldn't want it to be locked out, at least from a software perspective, the way consoles are today.
I feel like that just becomes like a Valve line of computers from another manufacturer though.
At the same time, though, if they want more people to use their console, who cares if they have games, from other publishers on there? Because people will still buy the console and they'll still spend that initial money on it.
Yeah, but isn't the whole point of Steam that I don't want a console? I'm a PC gamer and I do what I want.
But don't think of it as a console then. Just think of it like as a home theater PC that somebody else built for you.
It's strange. Just because I think there are companies like Apple. Apple right now has such a large percentage of the casual and mobile gaming market. Like, they're eating everybody's lunch. But Apple's not going to put out a console. Like, Apple's not going to put out a game controller. They've already said that they don't want to do that because it's just like, we don't have to. Yeah. That opens us up to losses that we don't need to take. And I feel like Valve has to be thinking the same thing. They've got it so good right now. They get a percentage of every fucking game.
Yeah, they've got the best racket in the entire industry, probably.
Yeah. And it's just like, why would we open ourselves up to hardware manufacturing, which is something that has like the smallest sliver of revenue ever?
Nintendo's the only one who reliably makes money on their hardware sales. Yeah. The PS3 was sold at a loss when it first came out. The 360 was sold at a loss when it first came out. So yeah, like, they do have like the craziest, like, they're just taking a chunk of every video game, every PC game, because buying PC games off like outside of Steam is a crappy environment to do that in.
Yeah, and they know that people respect them as a company and are willing to wait for something that would be eventually a better product.
So is this what they're working on, or do you think they're just working on this wearable computing thing, and they're working on maybe some kind of a new controller?
I definitely think they're working on the Steam box. I don't think that's what Ellsworth is working on or talking about. I think that's probably going to be some kind of peripheral, like a special controller or something. Something that ties into the big picture mode without being a whole other like huge piece of hardware on its own.
Valve is so into design, and they're so into being like 2 steps ahead of everybody. Whatever it is, it's got to be simple, right? And they just keep saying wearable, and that just like, that kind of like weirds me out.
I can't, what would that be?
It's a tie, it's a gaming tie.